We're so glad you're here with us today. Ashley Lee and myself, Annie Collette Carr, are going to be sharing with you a very powerful message about empowerment and how we get to actually express our empowered state of being, which is our true natured self. And we do this by clearing our inner unconscious mind of our consciousness challenges. So Ashley, let's get started. We have lots to share.
So everyone, what is an empowerment, right? And a lot of times we say that, but sometimes we may not have really delved into the idea of what that means. Empowerments literally are an embodied state of higher consciousness. So, right, I feel empowered, right? What does that mean? And what that means is it really starts with ourselves. We learn how to become empowered, to be embodied in this empowerment, or what we call our true nature of love, expressed in every day, in every way, in every moment. And it's so exciting to bring this forward, this concept forward, to really, we all know what it feels like to be empowered and to stand empowered in our everyday experiences. But we wanted to dissect this a little bit, take this apart, and really not only just analyze, but I mean feel and live and love in these empowered states of being. It's not just a mental exercise. It's an exercise of literally, right, emanating our situation. So we wanted to show you this, that when we stand fully empowered, we literally emanate it out to the world and to our inside selves too. So when we feel empowered, right, our physical body feels great. Our mind is clear. Our heart is open. Our emotions are exuberant, right? Happy, joyous, amazing, right? Our blood pressure might be a little elevated in a happy way. We might have the happy hormones and endocrine system working really well. Our immune system is awesome and turned on. Everything in our body is vital, right? Our vital force energy is flowing through our body. And this is what we really wanted to focus on through the leap of consciousness. Because it isn't just all about consciousness challenges and conflict resolving every day. We wanted to go deeper into these concepts of what gets us innately to these empowered states, where we don't have to make it or push it or demand it or sit there for 23 hours in a meditation and make it happen, right? We can do it every day. And I'm so excited to share this.
Into the flow and staying in that flow state where life is just about breathing and it feels easier.
Right, so how does one embody higher consciousness?
Great question.
When we really do create the absence of consciousness challenges. And what are consciousness challenges, right? They're fear states of being. They're fear states of thinking and emoting. And many of us think that fear is all about being scared. But what if fear is really the absence of our true nature, which is love? And so when we're not in that state of love, when we're in paranoia, overwhelm, upset, irritation, anger, all of those are not our true states of nature. They may be truly how we're feeling in the moment. They may be truly exemplary of what's happening in our world and what we believe is happening in our world. But at the same time, even when things are troubling, even when things are challenging or difficult, or we're experiencing a lot of grief, in that moment, what if we can celebrate life and the love that we're experiencing, even when things are challenging? So that's why we call them consciousness challenges, so that we could recognize that they are a part of our everyday life, and we're able to really move them through and out, and really organically start to step into these higher states of awareness, which are empowered states of awareness. So Annie, where do we begin? Right? We begin by acknowledging that we have fears, even inside the beliefs and the perceptions of how we believe the world is occurring. So we even have beliefs about the beliefs we have. And that's where we wanted to go a little bit deeper, to start to understand and untangle this so that it's easier to get to the consciousness challenges we all face.
And I love this pictograph, because I believe just about every single person on the planet at some age has been accused of something and they knew, oh, it wasn't me. And so we have this need to be innocent. I think it is a very human quality to want to be innocent, but it is a challenge because it denies our part in something. So when we don't want to accept that responsibility for being blamed of what went wrong, or even admit that we had a part in the conflict, because sometimes we feel so powerless and victimized by the conflict that we don't believe we can make it better. And that is where our first step in not believing in who we are, because we are very powerful, because we can conflict resolve what we witness, right? Even being a witness to a conflict makes you a small part of it. So we can choose to consciously release the judgments that we have about ourselves and our powerlessness, and then begin to make a difference. And that's where we begin to see that we can be emotionally vulnerable to being blamed, and then release that sense of powerlessness to return to our true natured state. Then none of that even bothers you. It's really miraculous how it clears all those feelings of being blamed or guilty of something that we previously perceived we didn't do. And this is a big key to this situation here, and it's called make wrong consciousness. And oh my goodness, did I have the biggest case of make wrong, that I had no idea I was running around this planet with make wrong. Fear of significant make wrong. I didn't want to be the one who did it wrong, which created extra problems. Perfectionism, people pleasing, avoiding the punishment model, right? So when I don't get what I want or achieve the desired outcome that I'm hoping for, then I determine myself as wrong. And that's where we tend to beat ourselves up. So with this information, we can then say, okay, I consciously release my self-judgments, recognizing that my make wrong was keeping me stuck. And from that point forward, I can choose to notice the beliefs that predicated the self-judgments, and then I'm empowered to reframe them. So instead of going like, oh God, I messed up, and then beating myself up, I actually have the chance to say, okay, I didn't know what I was doing, but I took my best shot, and I can reframe it and say, I can resource myself and get help, or I can move out of make wrong and see, what did I do right? And then I can build upon what is actually working and what is correct. So if we fear make wrong, we are going to keep ourselves stuck in a whole different pattern.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when it's challenging to clear make wrong, right? Our next one is really a big doozy. Because when we consciously release that reactive mind and open to believing, we are capable of empowering ourselves with the situation before us. And I know that's a lot of words, right? And it sometimes sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook, but I want to share with you, we want to share with you very deeply, that what happens is we move into denial very easily and very unconsciously when we have so much inner make wrong going on inside of us. And we move it, what? I'm not wrong. I can't do that, because it doesn't feel good to make ourselves wrong or to make others wrong. It doesn't feel good to say, it wasn't me. This isn't happening. I'm in denial. I can't deal with this. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do this. When we move into all those inner states of being, it really ties us up and bounds us up into these stuck states. And we don't even realize we have so much make wrong for it. And this is where we're denying it of ourselves. We don't know we have so much make wrong about ourselves and everyone else around us and the world. And we run around blaming. We run around saying you're wrong. We run around being the integrity police for everyone and everything, including ourselves, right? And so that's where we get stuck in all these massive amounts of judgments, which create a wall between even the parts of ourselves to understand who is who in our inner boardroom, for example, that we mentioned in other previous episodes. And in that inner boardroom, what happens is then we don't realize the ego is speaking for us. We don't realize that part of us that has to survive and push and control and make things happen is running our show and running our mind, running our heart, running everything that we're wanting to emanate out to the world. It diminishes that flow. So what we're here really sharing very deeply is we want to connect to our inner selves so that we're able to determine where are our consciousness challenges with ourselves, right? In that idea of denial.
Yeah, and I will share, I have two things I want to add here is that time as a liability consciousness is a problem, okay? When we have time consciousness and we perceive that we don't have time for something, we bury the problems. That is exactly the same as sticking your head in the sand, saying, I don't have time for this, I can't deal with this. And another aspect of denial, if you don't believe that you have denial, how's your energy? Is your energy up? Are you maintaining a high frequency? Or are you pretending that you're holding a high frequency all the time? Because if our energy lowers, we can ask ourselves, what am I denying? And then we can go looking for what it is that we're suppressing, where we don't want to see the truth. We don't want to have to take action to begin healing where our conflicts are. And it's that which prevents us from standing in our power and embodying empowered states of being and having the experience in life that we really choose, given the opportunity. But a lot of us think we don't have the time to heal these problems. And the truth is, after you learn this process, it gets easier and simpler. And we start making strides in being aware of conflict. So we heal them as we meet them, and it goes so much faster. And then we stop making conflicts because we've cleared our consciousness. So it's a beautiful process once you get started and get out of denial and begin that beautiful aspect of putting light on what you've been denying.
It's really true. And so when we're able to conflict resolve denial, right? Then all of a sudden that reactive mind comes up, right? That's what we were trying to stop and push away. No reactive mind, no ego, no automatic response. We don't want that in our lives.
You know, I come from a family, we're all very dramatic, very theatrical, and reactive mind added a lot of flourishes to the ego, right? We had facial expressions, we had tone of voice, we had body language, and we were very good at communicating without speaking, and it became an art form. And so now I recognize when my reactive mind, when I'm not being conscious with my reactive mind, I'm now being more conscious with my body language, my facial expressions, and my tone of voice. And one day, Ashley heard me say, wow. And she heard all the judgments in the wow. And she said, would you like to release that wow? And I was so taken aback. I was like, she's right. I reacted with a wow. And I literally chose in that moment, yes, I let go of my wow, because it was a reactive state of being. So notice where your reactive mind pops up, because that's a big clue to consciousness challenges where there's a hidden judgment.
Right. And, you know, I would like to share the words of this graphic or this meme we call. And I'd like to share it out loud because I think it has very good support. And also we want to support those who may not be able to actually watch the TV show that we're having today on empowerment, is to also hear it. So you may be hearing it in the car or while you're jogging or something. But we wanted to share when I jump to judgment about what is present before me, like that wow, I can't believe that's happened, right? We have all of these judgments tied into that wow. I believe it, and when I believe that that wow is true, I consciously release my reactive mind to empower myself in the situation I have judged. Because what we're doing with that wow is, wow, I can't believe you're behaving that badly, for example. And when we do that wow and we push it out, I can't believe you're behaving that badly, even though we only just said wow and not anything else. What happens is behind that wow is all this judgment, and the person feels it physically in their body. And what happens is it instantaneously diminishes the conversation. It instantaneously diminishes trust and all kinds of other issues that impact the relating between me and that wow person. So that's why we want to release, we recognize a reactive mind, and we want to release those judgments so that we can continue, even though there might be a big wow factor. What we want to do is then address those things that created that wow so that we can actually move through the problems or the conflicts more easily, more compassionately, and more supportively, not only for me, but also the person that's presenting off of those wow constructs into our world, right? So now I can consciously choose to be neutral, to open my mind and conflict resolve any points of view I didn't recognize were present. And so that really helps us reduce and let her say, it's okay, reactive mind. Thank you for pointing out the wow. And what we want to do is really discern the judgments that we're having towards that so that we can actually really work with conflict resolution in a very compassionate space, in a very understanding space, because that's when we're going to really move through these issues. If we keep telling each other, wow, we're just going to acknowledge how bad everybody's reacting or being in the world, right?
And at the same time, let's have humor for ourselves, because we are funny as human beings, that we've completely forgotten our true natured state of love and gone into these reactive spaces, and we can just say, oh my gosh, look at that, I just went into my reactive mind. Okay, I'm choosing to leave it, thank you.
Exactly.
And let our ego know, or thank you, just let me know when it's survival time and I need to move out of the way of something, and I'm going to choose to stay in my thrival brain and not my reactive mind.
Right. And so when we do that, and we get super clear with our own internal consciousness challenges, what happened is those actually impacted us to connect to our inner guidance. It interfered with our ability to get to our higher states of consciousness, our higher states of awareness, called our inner guidance. And it really did impact us. So when we clear our own consciousness challenges with our own selves, what happens is it really opens the door to connecting to our inner guidance. And so before really I connect to my inner guidance, I consciously release my reactive mind to create a state of neutrality. As I let go of attachment to outcome, allowing that truth to flow, to be anything it needs to be without my fears, my judgments, or other filters I created of the conflict presence that I'm accessing my inner guidance for, right? Because why do we access our inner guidance? We usually, I'm excited for the day when we access our inner guidance and say, where will I go enjoy myself today? And maybe some of us do that. But many of us access our inner guidance to resolve conflict, don't we?
Yes.
Because we want to understand perspectives. We want to understand, why is that person acting that way? What's going on? I don't understand, right? And so when we don't understand, we access that higher guidance. And it's much easier to do it when we clear ourselves first. And we're so excited about that, because then when we do have a conflict in front of us from someone else or life circumstances or things we've created, now we're much clearer with our inner guidance to actually perform the conflict resolution process.
And we can't be in an empowered state if we're running these consciousness challenges. It's a very binary thing. You're either in a state of fear or you're in your state of love. And that is why we encourage you to release your consciousness challenges, clear that static charge between you and yourself and you and others and you and life. Then
Absolutely.
you'll be able to have that clarity of relating from inside the space of love.
And so when we do conflict resolve and we zero out our judgments and zero out the process and really shine and stand in our true nature, we come to what we've described in earlier episodes as the creation, right, space, the 0 point. The precipice of creation is our neutral state. And so maintaining this neutrality after conflict resolution sometimes can be challenging. We recognize some of the areas of challenge is our attachment to outcome of what we'd like to see our goals or our successes be. And when we can remember to hold the frequency of really releasing attachment to outcome consciousness, we really do start to begin to see the world from a highly perspective viewpoint. So we can see ours and all our inner boardrooms perspectives, but we can also see other people's perspectives and nature's perspectives, the earth's perspective. All of these other perspectives we start to take into consideration when we move into the realm of creation. And what we really want to share here is that the realm of creation is so much fun when we're in heart-centered consensus consciousness together.
I love how attached this guy looks. He wants his wish to come true. He is literally hanging on to that desire of his and hoping and wishing. And I really think in many ways we've been brainwashed to be manifestors and hold tight to our dreams and our visualizations and our affirmations. And what we were not taught before is that if you have consciousness challenges, like here's a very basic one. If you're running lack consciousness and you don't believe there's enough, or there's effort required, or you have a belief that everything is working against you, that is going to put the kibosh on all of your hopes and dreams and wishes. So no matter how much attachment to outcome you have completely shut down the energy with consciousness challenges that allow you to actually be in the flow.
Absolutely. So when we release the attachment, we can put out the wish, put out the intention, put out the goals, create the structure. And when we let go of attachment to outcome, especially when other people are involved, and other team members, playmates, workmates, colleagues, prospects, clients, everyone, when everyone wins, a lot of times the outcome may not always be what we set in motion. And a lot of times when we adopt this idea of heart-centered consensus, when we adopt in service to us, when we adopt pronoia, that means the world is conspiring to support everyone, what happens is things start to come together and outcomes start to be manifest far greater, far more expanded, with much more love than we ever knew we could create. Exactly. And that's why releasing attachment to outcome is so valuable, is because more abundance can come as an opportunity than if we create rigid, structured outcome goals.
One of the images that we like to use for releasing attachment to outcome is the dandelion flower. When the wind takes the seeds, the dandelion releases its attachment to the seed. Otherwise, the seed can never flourish. It has to be let go of in order to get into fertile soil, to receive the energies of life, to empower that seed to grow. So be like the dandelion. And here's a great one. I love this image of this woman who is embodying peace and neutrality in the midst of chaos. And this consciousness is a beautiful empowerment because it helps create the ability to maintain neutrality. And this is what you want to do after you've done your conflict resolution. You want to embody a state of non-judgment where you are no compete, you are complete. You are energetically sharing your neutrality, that you're able to hold this space inside the relating, your relationship with yourself and others, that you are going to be neutral from their perspective. Okay, this is really important, that you have energetically shared with them that you're going to be neutral, that they understand that energetically, that they perceive you as neutral because you have shared with them, I'm not going to make any more judgments about this. I'm all done. I am complete. I am not here to compete with you. And together we can be in service to us. It's good for you. It's good for me. It's good for everyone, and everyone is included. And this is how we have to begin thinking of every choice now. Is it good for everyone?
So really, it's good for everyone. And where is an empowerment most useful when it's good for everyone?
Everywhere, every day, every moment, with everyone. And we really can presence ourself in a moment. And it all begins with recognizing that your presence matters. If you cannot comprehend that your presence matters, that you make a difference, that your divine truth, your divine light, your energy of love matters, then you won't be able to present yourself. So we invite you to accept this knowledge, embody it, that your presence matters. Your presence makes a difference. And as you do that, you're able to make conscious choice to presence your loving truth inside every relationship that you have with yourself, with another, with the rest of the world. And this helps promote this beautiful heart-centered communication because you're remembering my true nature is love. And when I share my true nature of love with others by practicing non-judgment, then others can perceive me as being neutral, being loving, and being heart-centered. So in this moment, I now have the opportunity to conflict resolve any consciousness challenges before me. And those consciousness challenges may come from the person that you are working with. Like this picture has a mother and her son, and she's really getting down on his level and presencing herself with him to say, I'm here. I am right here for you. You have my attention. And she appears very peaceful and neutral and loving. And this is what enhances the relating, because her awareness of her child, of the person before her, is acknowledging that his presence matters. It just emanates out of her that his presence matters. And so that allows him to open up inside the relating. And here's another example that inside the opportunities of conscious relating, we actually can acknowledge our true nature of love, because when we do that, we then say, oh, I have consciousness challenges. I commit to clearing those challenges because I choose to relate to others in life circumstances and witness the love present in others, even if they express consciousness challenges or when they do, because now you're empowered. The moment you hear it or see it or witness it, you can conflict resolve that discord that you become aware of that's inside the relating, because you are that powerful. That is what love does. Love notices with no judgment the other party's struggles, where they are challenged in their thinking. And that is where love can then conflict resolve to clear the energies because we noticed it.
And so let's explore three specific levels of empowerment. And we want to first start with the commitment to ourselves of holding the changes within that we created by those conflict resolution of those consciousness challenges.
This is a good one. Sustain and maintain change consciousness. This is holding the frequency. So I consciously choose to stand in sustain and maintain change consciousness and feel empowered to recognize everything in my life is resourcing and supporting me in maintaining the change I choose and committed to creating. I now consciously choose to remember my choices in my thoughts and in my beliefs. So even in the presence of self-doubt, I now choose to sustain and maintain the aha moments or the insights and all empowerments and conscious states that I have chosen as my optimal expressions of my true nature. We really do want to remember when we are in those high frequency states. So take a moment to connect and remember when you were holding and sustaining that change that you desired that was of a higher frequency. And you can always revisit that and step inside it. Here's another great one: self-awareness of true nature consciousness. Self-awareness of your true nature. Can you just notice that your true nature is love? I'm sure you can. I consciously choose to stand in self-awareness of true nature consciousness, feeling empowered to release self-judgments and self-limiting beliefs that restrict my connection to my divinity. I now consciously choose to find ways to express love in how I relate to myself, others, and life circumstances. Because I am self-aware, I can find my true nature. This is about how we navigate back to our true nature when we've been pulled off-centered. I have to remember that my true nature is love, and then release denial. What did I do to create this? Okay, I'm ready to look. I'm ready to lead myself back to love. And our third empowerment we want to share with you today is playful consciousness. I consciously choose to stand in playful consciousness, feeling enjoyment of walking through life and its challenges. I now consciously choose to be open-hearted and playful in my journey of learning to stand in my power. I think there are so many ways that we connect to the energy of fun and play that bring joy into the experience. And children naturally, automatically do this. So if you have a child nearby that you can observe and watch, take their lead, follow their example. We need to laugh at ourselves a little bit more. We take ourselves all too seriously. We're very hard on ourselves with self-judgments. And self-love means that we are releasing our self-judgments. And that is the fastest way to raise your energy and fill your cup. And then you'll feel that sense of playfulness, that joy of life, because you've made that choice.
So you are doing self-love when you go through this whole entire process. Many times we believe that we think that standing in an empowered state of being is just self-love. And in actuality, the truest form of self-love is to release our self-judgments, to own it, to know it, to experience it, and to say, okay, I resemble that consciousness. I did that. I'm part of it. I denied. I stuck my head in the sand. I didn't know what I was doing. It didn't feel good. I was hiding. I was the best hider in the world. I'd even walk into a room and be invisible. And I had no idea I was being invisible. I was in total denial. A lot of it is all our conditioning and all of these things that we have excuses for that we created all throughout society. And now we have the opportunity to step forward now in this moment, presencing ourselves, recognizing we had beliefs about our beliefs that we couldn't access, but now we can. We can start to release those, and we can start to really open ourselves up and really release. And really the thing that keeps us entangled and stuck is judgments. Judgments of ourselves, judgments of each other, judgments of our life and our circumstances. And when we start to release those, recognize what created them, conflict, resolve them by what? Acknowledging, releasing judgments, forgiving the judgments from all angles, and then recognizing that I am complete with this. I have made the decision. I'm standing in conscious choice. I'm done. And when I'm done giving judgments to it. I will problem solve. I will presence myself. I will support. I will be compassionate to myself and all others by not having any more judgments. And we can still problem solve, right? We can have discernments. We can have assessments. We can understand, wow, that didn't work very well. Okay, it didn't work very well. So we have fun with it, right? Wow, that didn't work very well. I'm kind of funny about that. And now what I'm going to do is we're going to say, what could work better? What would we like to do together? Were we in consensus, or did I just want my way? Whatever it is, we can start to really work through these things. And that's really that sense of self-love. And so what we're doing is we're restoring our true nature of love by continuously, literally releasing these self-judgments to live inside this concept we call interpersonal responsibility.
Yes, I love this. Really, truly. Expressing anger is not being empowered. Being empowered means you're taking that sledgehammer and you're breaking that ball and chain, and you're freeing yourself. You're liberating yourself from your consciousness challenges, and whether they were learned from your family or society, or you created them or came in with them, you have the power to heal those consciousness challenges. So here is this beautiful empowerment. It says, the moment I became aware of the victim consciousness I created, I realized I was responsible for chaining myself to these realities, preventing me from being empowered. I now choose to notice the consciousness challenges inside me and conflict resolve the judgments I determined as true. So this is a glorious opportunity to use this empowerment to release ourselves from denial and make wrong and the reactive mind, and move into that beautiful empowered space of self-love, self-navigation with inner guidance on board.
So true. It is exciting to know we can move through these what we once perceived as very challenging or impossible situations. We can move through that. And so we support you today, really. You are welcome to downloading our complimentary ebook of empowerments. We created 21 empowerments. We actually, on our list, I think we have 400 empowerments so far on our working list, that we are developing a desktop app so that everyone can have access to this whole entire list of consciousness challenges and its associated empowerment. And so in here, you can get a sneak peek of some opportunities to see empowerments, live in them, play in them. And we invite you to do this by releasing the consciousness challenges that maybe prevented you from being in that empowered state. And really work through these deeper depths and opportunities to experience what it is to step into this empowered state of being, neutral and free of consciousness challenges. And really, watch out, world. Watch what you create and watch what you bring forward in relating to yourself, others, and all of your life around you. That way of relating starts dramatically shifting into more experiences of your true nature of love, your giftedness, your power, your understanding, and your ways of sharing your heart with everyone around you.
We even have a remote transmission energy healing program called Leap of Consciousness that is a beautiful companion for this Awake TV program. So with every one of the 12 weeks, you can match the episode with the transmission that we have created that is a unique energy packet for your healing of both your unconscious mind and help you move into empowered states of being. So this program is open and available all year round. You can enroll at any time, and we highly recommend that you buy a subscription to Awake TV and watch the episode on a Tuesday or Wednesday before you meditate to receive the energy packet, to deepen your healing process. It is a gorgeous way to have two energy healers supporting you, doing some heavy lifting behind the scenes so that you can experience a big leap of consciousness. You can make the transformative shifts that you have always wanted. Perhaps you have an area that is stuck and you want to work on it with one committed intention. We can work with you during those 12 weeks, supporting you as you shift and heal what's in your unconscious and conscious mind. So we invite you to go to our website at leapofconsciousness.com and register for this remote transmission energy healing program. And thank you so much for joining us. We love sharing all of this information with you. We know that it is helping everybody on the planet right now make the shifts and the transformations that are bringing peace, one person at a time. As you choose peace and you emanate peace as an empowered state and you stay clear, you begin to bring that peace to the next person. So thank you from the bottom of our heart for making that commitment to change your consciousness, because we truly are changing the world. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.